Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hello everyone, I'm Atma. I host Make Me a Gamer, which is a gaming podcast that is dedicated to me and a friend talking about games, and my friend doesn't play video games as often as I do, and so I get his unique perspective on video games and gaming. And I also guest frequently on Game Session Podcast, which is a weekly gaming news podcast that is streamed live on Twitch Sundays and Mondays. This is actually my second side quest. I previously talked about XCOM 2, but today I'm here to talk about another game that is very near and dear to my heart, and that is Star Fox 64. So, I was not a big original Star Fox fan. I didn't play it that much. The Corneria music got stuck in my head, like it does for everyone. If you've never heard it, you probably have. You just don't recognize it or by name. I would definitely check that out because it's an all-time classic theme, the Corneria theme. But I'm not here to talk about Star Fox's music. I'm here to talk about Star Fox 64. So Star Fox, the original Star Fox and Star Fox 64 are a linear sort of rail shooter where you pilot an Arwing and you take on the duties of Fox McCloud, who is an ace pilot in the Star Fox team. And he's got his buddies, Falco and Slippy, and his mentor, Peppy, who is like his father's friend, and like they make up the squad. And you're basically flying through different planets and shooting down enemies, and it's very arcadey. But the best part about Star Fox 64 was it came out in an era where voice acting wasn't as big a deal as it is now. And so for me, it was really my first experience with a game that really had voice acting and lines that went with everything. And I think for a lot of people that grew up in like the N64 generation, Star Fox 64 burned its quotes into your brain because like it's one of those games that you play over and over again, and you're trying to get the best medals and get all the secrets and everything and do like the hard routes and the easy routes, and I'll get to all that, but all the lines are voice acted. So there's all these like one-liner quotes that are just burned in my brain, like Peppy shouting, "Do a barrel roll!" Like that was part of internet culture. And the Star Wolf team, which you fight on Fortuna, their intro quotes have burned into my brain, like complete with accents and everything, and I'm going to do them right now, even though my accents are terrible. "Can't let you do that, Star Fox. Andross has ordered us to take you down. Peppy, long time no see. Andross's enemy is my enemy." I can quote all this stuff off the top of my head. What the heck? It's just ingrained in me because you play these games over and over, especially when you're a kid. And just the voice acting made the characters pop out for me. So like the Star Wolf team, Fox's team, Andross and Rob 64, and all these characters, all the bosses you fight that have like their own like quirks and everything. It brought the game to life, and that's why it became an important game to me. And beyond that, it's so much fun fighting all the different bosses, going through, seeing all the different planets. There's Katana, which is basically an Independence Day ripoff, completely down to like you've got to shoot the center of the giant alien spaceship before it blows up the entire planet. There's not just Arwings in this one, you also get a tank called the Landmaster and a sub called the Blue Marine, and you get like an underwater. That's probably like my least favorite planet out of all of them. I just didn't like the submarine, but I digress. And it's just, there's such cool things like on Macbeth, which is one of the Landmaster planets. You can skip the boss altogether. If you shoot a certain amount of switches, instead of fighting the boss, you activate the train, and like the guy's just loses his brakes and the train explodes and crashes. He's like, I can't stop it. And then boom. And you don't have to fight the boss. Like it's there's these little like things you can do in each planet. Like the first planet, Corneria, if you don't save Falco, you get one boss. But if you do save Falco, he takes you to another section and you go a different route. And so there's all these like branching paths through the game, and I am really wondering. This one isn't as focused and like, but I'm just getting excited talking about all these things. And there's one quote that just stays with me that I just say to myself randomly because it popped into my head all the time, and it's the final quote when you beat Andros, and I guess this is minor spoilers. Or major spoilers for the game, but also, 20 years late. But when you beat the final boss on the hard route, when you kill him, Andros goes, "If I go down, I'm taking you with me." And again, I'm doing these voices horrible, but I can hear them in my head, and that's what counts. But I will say that for some reason, like just whenever like the phrase, if someone is going down, or if I go down, if someone else says it, like I can hear the Andros voice instead. And again, this game had an impact on me because you didn't get fully voiced games back in the N64. You got like Mario saying "Wahoo!" And there was also other stuff to the game. There was multiplayer, which was really fun. The local 4 players where you could play in Arwings or Landmasters, or actually run around as Fox and Slippy with a bazooka and shoot at each other. And my friends and I always had a blast playing that competitively against each other. And yeah, it's weird because future Star Fox games like always tried to like mess with the formula. You had the Star Fox Adventures, which was like a game that converted from a completely different IP and turned into a Star Fox game. And there was Assault and whatever they did with the Wii U. And like nothing quite captured the magic of Star Fox 64, because Star Fox 64 was an exercise in simplicity. They didn't try to gimmick it too hard. They stuck to the formula that worked. And yes, they added a submarine and the Landmaster, and they added all range mode, which was prototyped sort of in Star Fox 2 but then never released. And all range mode is basically a full sort of 3D piloting dogfighting mode instead of the rail shooter mechanics of the other rest of the game, where you're just sort of automatically flying forward. In all range mode, you actually got to control where your ship was going, which was cool. And that, of course, led to the multiplayer, because that wasn't in rail shooter mode. That was all taking place in all range mode. And I briefly touched on that, but I wanted to explain, like, there's what's considered the easy route and the hard route, and basically based on decisions you make and like secrets you find in each planet you go through can alter the direction you go. And all routes lead to Venom, not Tom Hardy, the planet, but there's an easy Venom and a hard Venom, and you get the true ending and like the real final boss if you take the hard route to the hard Venom. And there, of course, you fight Starwolf a second time, which was always my favorite part. Like fighting Starwolf, I have a thing for like the bad version of the main like protagonist squad. Whenever that happens, I just like adrenaline and endorphins. Like, yes, give me that. I don't care if it's a trope I've seen 1,000 times. I want it again. And yeah, it's a classic game. There isn't much more I can say about it. If you haven't played it, either find an N64 and play it, or try and get I believe 3DS has it. And maybe someday, Nintendo will put Nintendo 64 games on Switch and you can play it there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed me rambling about Star Fox 64 and doing terrible voices. It was fun talking about them and doing the voices. So that's it for me. If you like my particular brand of incoherent rambling about video games, you can always follow me on Twitter at Atma_Phoenix. Take care, be nice to each other, and happy gaming!
Are you tired of watching your beloved characters being tortured by careless authors?
Are you sick of feeling like they could have swapped out all of the painful action and the plot would remain untouched? Subscribe to Books That Burn, the fortnightly book review podcast focusing on fictional depictions of trauma.
We assume that the characters' reactions are reasonable and focus on how badly or well they were served by their authors.
Join us for our minor character spotlights, main character discussions, and favorite non-traumatic things in the dark books we love.
Find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.